This is the BT20A Max, a brand new 2.1 stereo amplifier by Fosi Audio, the esteemed Chi-Fi company, and today we're going to dive right into it. On the front we have the name of the receiver and a nice embossed image of it. Then there is a picture of the back, and then we have some info on the back, not really too important. Let's open it right up. Let's throw that to the side. Inside, we have the manual. We have the power supply and its cable. We have the remote. We have a Bluetooth antenna, and of course, the receiver itself. Now, seeing the amp in person, you might be a little shocked to see just how compact it is, considering just how much power this thing puts out. But after you pick it up and feel it in your hands, any doubts sort of fade away. The build quality and the sheer heft of this thing is very satisfying. But we're going to set it aside for a second and get the accessories out of the way. First is the power supply. There are 3 different options which affect the price. The first option you can get is a 32 volt 5 amp power supply, which is $229. With this power supply, you save some money, but there isn't enough power to get everything that the amp offers. In my opinion, that's still a great option if you're going to be sticking with a desktop speaker system with some smaller speakers. Now, the package I got includes the 48 volt 5 amp power supply for $250 all in. This power supply allows for the full 300 watts per channel at 4 ohms. There's another $270 package with a power supply that's still 48 volt 5 amps, but it has a slightly more efficient and cooler running power supply. The power supply features a green indicator light, and it seems fairly well built. The remote feels very nice with a basic layout, and it takes 2 AAA batteries. It features a power button, a mute button, a pause button, skip and previous buttons, a mode button, a dimmer button, a reset button, buttons to select the product you have, and volume control buttons that are very interesting. I'll get to those a little later in the video. Now, let's get into what we've all been waiting for, the Fosi Audio BT20A Max. On the front, there's a nice feeling faceplate featuring a button next to 3 indicator lights. These indicate the mode, which you can change by pressing the button when the amplifier is on. You can turn the amplifier on or off by holding the button for 2 seconds. Next is the IR receiver that connects the remote to the amplifier. To the right of that are the tone controls. You can adjust the bass and the treble using these, which is very useful. They also have central detents, so any of you obsessive audiophiles don't have to worry that you're coloring the sound at all. There's also a switch on the back, which can bypass the tone controls, so they don't affect the signal at all. Next is the beautiful orange volume knob, which has become a symbol of Fosi Audio products. Here's where the interesting volume buttons I mentioned earlier come into play. When you change the volume using the remote, a motor inside the amp turns the knob to align with the level you've changed it to. I love this feature. It's so cool to adjust the volume and see the knob magically swivel. Moving to the bulk of the amplifier, there's a very solid, nice feeling metal body with some awesome looking vents for cooling. Speaking of, there's a silent fan on the inside of the amp which blows hot air out of the Max logo and brings in cooler outside air using the side vents. Overall, the construction of the body is very high quality, and it feels great and it looks great. On to the back, where some of the most exciting features are. We have 2 sets of RCA inputs, which can be toggled between using the remote or the button up front. This is very useful if you have 2 audio players that you want to switch between without having to plug and unplug cables, like a CD player and a turntable. Next is the bypass switch control that I mentioned earlier. This switch can toggle the signal between going through the tone controls and bypassing them. Underneath that is the dedicated subwoofer out. A subwoofer coming out of this, in combination with the high pass filter I will talk about soon, can really benefit the sound of your system. Next, we have the speaker outputs, where you have the choice to either use banana plugs or unscrew the clear plastic covers and insert speaker wire into a hole in the metal before tightening the covers again. On the right quarter of the interface, there's a 12 volt trigger input which can automatically turn the amplifier on when connected to a TV or another device. Below that is the high pass filter. This switch can greatly benefit the sound quality of your system if you have a subwoofer. The way it works is that it sends the speakers the whole audio signal minus the deep bassy part. It sends that deep signal to the subwoofer output only. This means that your speakers don't have to worry about the deep frequencies. They don't work as hard and can retain more detail as a result. In my system, this feature has made the bass a lot cleaner and the mid-range significantly more detailed and pleasant. We then have the place where you can screw on the Bluetooth antenna. If you wish, you can use the BT20A Max's Bluetooth without the antenna, but you won't be able to connect from as far and the connection will be less stable. Below the antenna, we find the power input, which takes up to 48 volts. With all the features out of the way, let's talk about my opinions. I'm currently using this to run 2 speakers that can handle up to 100 watts RMS. This amp makes them sing. Compared to my previous receiver, the popular Sony STR DH190, everything is much more clear and far less colored. Comparing the two, the Sony feels as if it changes the music and puts a slight fog over everything. The Fosi, on the other hand, feels pure. They both retail for about $250, and at that price, I think the Fosi is the obvious winner. It has more power, can fit on a desk, has far better support for a subwoofer, and has much better Bluetooth connection. If you're in any way considering upgrading to a subwoofer in the future, or if you already have one, the Fosi BT20A Max is an absolute no-brainer for your stereo system when compared to other amplifiers in the price range. Even if you just have 2 basic passive speakers on your desk, the Fosi audio amplifier is a great choice. It can make even very demanding pairs of speakers sing, and it looks great while doing it. Thank you for watching, and there's a link in the description if you want to purchase this receiver.